Deho stood in the empty grain storage facility and felt his heart sink. 3 months of food left. Maybe 4 if they cut rations again. He ran his hand through his gray hair and tried not to think about the children in the colony school. 2,000 people depending on him, and he was failing them all. New Haven was supposed to be humanity's fresh start. A beautiful world with rich soil and clean water. But the blight had come 6 months ago, turning their crops to black mush overnight. Every field, every greenhouse, everything they had planted was gone. The agricultural scientist in him wanted to study it, understand it, but the colony administrator knew they just needed food. "Any responses to our distress calls?" Hannah asked from the doorway. The medical officer looked as tired as he felt. Dark circles under her eyes told him she had been working double shifts again. "Nothing helpful," Deho said quietly. "The Terran Federation says supply ships would take 11 months to reach us. We will be dead by then." Hannah nodded slowly. She had stopped being shocked by bad news weeks ago. "I have 43 people in the medical center with malnutrition symptoms. Most are children. We are running out of vitamin supplements." Yomi appeared behind Hannah, holding her data tablet against her chest like a shield. The supply coordinator was barely 25, too young to carry this kind of burden. "I cut rations again today. People are angry. They know what it means." Deho wanted to comfort them both, but he had no comfort to give. He had sent requests to every nearby alien species. Most ignored him. The few who responded said humans were not their problem. One species had laughed at their request, calling them weak mammals who cannot even feed themselves. That night, Deho sat alone in his office and looked at the photos on his wall. His wife and daughter back on Earth, waiting for him to make this colony successful before joining him. He had not told them how bad things were. What could he say? That he had led 2,000 people to a slow death on a distant world. The communication console beeped. Another rejected request, probably. He almost did not answer it. "Human Colony, New Haven. This is the merchant vessel Gentle Tide. We received your distress call. We are 3 days away and carrying food supplies. Please confirm your location." Deho stared at the screen. He played the message again. Then a third time. His hands shook as he activated the transmitter. "Gentle Tide. This is Colony Administrator Deho. Your message." "Are you serious? Can you really help us?" "We can help," came the response an hour later. "We are Velarin traders. We heard your call and changed our route. Life is precious. We will arrive in 70 hours. Deho called an emergency meeting. When he told them about the Velarin ship, some people cried. Others refused to believe it. Youngmi asked the question everyone was thinking. "What do they want in payment?" "We have almost nothing valuable." "I do not know," Deho admitted. "But we have to try." 3 days felt like 3 years. Deho barely slept. He kept checking the scanners, terrified the Velarin would change their minds. But exactly 70 hours later, a ship entered orbit. It was smaller than he expected, painted in soft blues and greens. Nothing like the military vessels or corporate haulers he knew. A shuttle landed near the colony center. The doors opened, and Deho got his first look at an alien who came to help instead of ignore them. The Velarin were tall and slender, with soft features and large eyes. Their skin had a faint blue tint, and they moved with gentle grace. The captain stepped forward and touched her chest in greeting. "I am Mira, captain of Gentle Tide. You are Deho." "Yes," he managed. "Thank you for coming. We can pay you, but it will take time. We have mineral rights, future crop shares when we recover." Mira raised her hand softly. "We require no payment. Your people are hungry. We have food. That is all that matters." Deho felt tears on his face and did not care who saw them. The Velarin brought crates of preserved foods, protein supplements, and medical supplies. But they brought something more valuable too: seeds. New varieties engineered to resist common blights. Agricultural equipment designed for young colonies. And knowledge. Mira and her crew of 12 stayed for 2 weeks. They walked through the ruined fields with Deho, studying the soil and the blight remnants. They taught the colonists new farming techniques. They showed Youngmi how to build better storage facilities. They helped Hannah set up nutrition programs for the sickest patients. Why are you doing this? Daeho asked Mira one evening as they stood watching the sunset. Your people do not even know us. Mira was quiet for a moment. When I was young, my world faced a terrible storm. Many died. Another species came to help us, asking nothing in return. They taught me that life is precious. All life, we help because it is right. Because when we have plenty and others have nothing, sharing is not a choice. It is a responsibility. I do not know how to thank you, Daeho said. Survive, Mira said simply. Build your colony. Live good lives. And someday, if you see others in need, help them as we helped you. That is thanks enough. Before the Velarin left, Mira gave Daeho a small device. It looked like a smooth stone, but lights pulsed gently inside it. This is a communication beacon, she explained. It connects directly to Velarin space. If ever my people need help, we will call. But also, if you ever face danger you cannot handle alone, activate this. We will hear you. I do not understand, Daeho said. Why give us this? Mira smiled. Because kindness should never be one-sided. We helped you today. Perhaps someday you will help us, or help someone else who needs it. The beacon is a reminder that we are connected now. Your survival matters to us. The gentle tide lifted off the next morning. The entire colony stood watching it rise into the sky. Daeho held the beacon in his hand and made a silent promise. He would remember this. They all would. And if the Velarin ever needed them, humanity would come. Young Dashmi stood beside him. What do we do now? Daeho looked at the fields where colonists were already planting the new seeds. We survive. We build. We remember. And we make sure every human knows what the Velarin did for us today. New Haven did more than survive. It thrived. And every child born in that colony learned the story of Captain Mira and the gentle tide. The aliens who came when no one else would. The people who helped because it was right. Humanity never forgot kindness. They were about to prove just how well they remembered. 50 years changed everything. Admiral Taeyang. No one stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the memorial display on the main screen. The gentle tide. Captain Myra. The Velarin species who saved New Haven when he was just 8 years old. He touched the glass case mounted on the wall beside his command chair. Inside rested the original beacon, the one Mira had given to Administrator Daeho all those decades ago. The diplomatic delegation is ready for you, his aide said. Taeyang nodded but kept looking at the beacon. He remembered being hungry. Really hungry. The kind that made his stomach hurt and his head feel light. He remembered his mother crying when she thought he was asleep. And he remembered the day the Velarin came. The day everything changed. The conference room held representatives from 6 different species. Ambassador Jinnah sat at the head of the table, looking professional in her formal uniform. She was good at her job, making friends across the galaxy, building alliances. But Taeyang knew she also remembered New Haven. She had been there too. Admiral, Jinnah said. I was just explaining to our friends here about humanity's expansion over the past 50 years. A Rothian delegate, tall and covered in scales, leaned forward. Impressive expansion. You humans went from 1 struggling colony to 47 thriving worlds. 20 warships in your fleet. Most species take centuries to accomplish what you did in decades. We had good teachers, Taeyang said. And strong motivation. When you nearly die, you remember what saved you. We built everything with that memory in mind. Sendari Observer, small and insect-like, clicked their mandibles thoughtfully. Your reputation spreads. Other species say humans are fierce but honorable, loyal to a fault. Some call you the species that never forgets. They are right, Jinnah said simply. We remember everything. Every kindness, every betrayal, every promise made. Humans have long memories. Biora entered the conference room, her captain's insignia gleaming. She commanded the warship Remembrance, one of humanity's newest vessels. Sorry I am late. Training exercises ran long. Taeyang smiled. Biora had been his student once years ago. Now she was one of his best captains. How did the new pilots perform? Eager, Bura said. Maybe too eager. They all want to be heroes. I had to remind them that our strength is not just weapons. It is why we fight. The Rothian delegate looked confused. Why do you train so hard? Your sector is peaceful. No major threats exist nearby. Yang and Jinna exchanged glances. How could they explain? Most species fought only when threatened. Humans fought to protect what mattered to them. And what mattered included friends, even those far away. Trained because we owe a debt, Taeyang said quietly. 50 years ago, the Velarin saved us. They asked nothing in return. But humanity remembers. If they ever need us, we will be ready. The Velarin? The Sendari said. Those peaceful herbivores? They have no enemies. They never leave their small corner of space. Why would they need help? Maybe they will not, Na admitted. But if they do, we will come. That is who we are. After the meeting ended, Bor walked with Taeyang back to the bridge. Do you really think we will ever need to repay them? She asked. I hope not, Taeyang said honestly. The Velarin deserve peace, and if the time comes, Bora, we will not hesitate. Every human alive today exists because of their kindness. We teach our children about the gentle tide. We built a memorial on New Haven. We named ships after them. This is not just duty, it is honor. On New Haven, the memorial stood in the center of the capital city. A beautiful garden surrounded a statue of Captain Mira, one hand extended in greeting. Plaques listed the names of all 12 Valerian crew members who had stayed to help. Every day, people visited. Children left flowers. Veterans saluted. The inscription at the base read, When we were strangers in need, they came. When no one else answered, they helped. Humanity will never forget the Valerian. This we swear. Taeyang had visited that memorial countless times. His mother's name was on a secondary plaque listing the colonists saved. She had passed away 5 years ago, but before she died, she made him promise something. Never forget what they did for us, she had said, holding his hand. If the Velarin ever need help, you go. You drop everything and you go. Promise me, he had promised. The human philosophy spread through their culture. Schools taught it. Military academies made it part of their core training. Every human ship carried a copy of the Velarin story in their databases. They built trade agreements that favored the Velarin, even when it cost them profit. They named streets and schools after Captain Myra. Other species thought it was strange, obsessive even. Why focus so much on one act of kindness from decades ago? But humans understood something that many aliens did not. Kindness was rare in the universe. Real kindness, the type that asked nothing in return, was even rarer. When you found it, you honored it. You protected it, made sure it never went in RD. Jin-Ah often gave speeches about it. She was famous across human space for her words about the Velarin. Some species say we are too loyal, she had said at a university graduation last year. They say, we focus too much on the past. But I say remembering is our strength. The Velarin could have ignored our distress call. They could have demanded payment we could not afford. They could have exploited our desperation. Instead, they gave freely. They taught us that kindness exists. We built our entire civilization on that lesson. We help others because they helped us. We give freely because they gave to us. We remember because forgetting would betray everything good in the universe. The students had given her a standing ovation that lasted 5 minutes. Taeyang looked at the beacon in its case. 50 years it had sat there. Silent, or no. Mira had said to use it if humanity ever faced danger they could not handle. But she had also said the Velarin might call if they needed help. He had checked it every single day for 5 decades. Still silent. Sir, his communications officer said, incoming transmission from the diplomatic corps. Ambassador Gina wants to speak with you. Put her through. Gina's face appeared on screen. She looked excited, Admiral. Good news. We just finalized a new trade agreement with the Vexeron Collective. They are impressed with our fleet. Want to discuss a mutual defense pact? That is excellent, as Taeyang said. We need more allies. We are building a good reputation, Gina said. Species trust us because we keep our word, because we are loyal. The Velarin taught us well. After she signed off, Taeyong turned back to the beacon, still silent, still waiting. Maybe someday, he said quietly. And if that day comes, we will be ready. He did not know how soon that day would arrive. He did not know that in just 3 weeks, the beacon would activate for the first time in 50 years. He did not know that humanity would face its greatest test. But he was ready. They all were, because humanity never forgot kindness. And when they remembered, nothing in the galaxy could stop them. Subin almost missed it. The intelligence officer was running routine scans of deep space communications when something unusual appeared on her screen. A signal, old frequency, barely used anymore. She frowned and ran it through the analysis program. Her blood went cold. "Commander," she said, her voice tight. "I need you to see this right now." Her supervisor came over, coffee in hand. "What is it?" "It is the Velarin frequency. The old beacon system." Subin's hands shook as she typed. Someone just activated a distress call. The coffee cup hit the floor. Within minutes, the signal reached Admiral Taeyong's flagship. He was reviewing supply reports when his aide burst onto the bridge, protocol forgotten. "Sir, the beacon. It is active." Taeyong stood so fast his chair rolled backward. "Show me." The main screen lit up with the signal analysis. Old Velarin encryption, exactly matching the beacon protocols from 50 years ago. And the message, when decoded, was simple and devastating. "To our friends in humanity, we who gave help now ask for it. The Kratchel Empire has invaded our space. 3 colonies have fallen, thousands are dead. Our defenses are failing. If you can hear this, if you remember us, please help. Our people are dying." The bridge went silent. Every person there knew the story of the gentle tide. Every person understood what this meant. "Get me the War Council," Taeyong said quietly. Now, 30 minutes later, every senior military officer and government official in human space was connected. Ambassador Jinnah attended from her ship. Captain Bohr joined from the Remembrance. Defense Minister Wu Zhen appeared from Earth. Port Taeyong said. Su-Ben brought up tactical displays. The Krathel Empire launched a surprise attack on Velarin space 4 days ago. They are a reptilian species, highly aggressive, expanding rapidly. They have been conquering smaller systems for the past decade. The Galactic Council knows about them but has not intervened. "Why target the Velarin?" Jinnah asked. "They are peaceful, no threat to anyone. Their worlds have rich agricultural values," Subin explained, "and rare minerals. The Krathel want both. They do not negotiate, they just take." Biora studied the enemy fleet composition. They have sent over 100 warships. The Velarin have maybe a dozen defense platforms, all outdated. They never needed more. This is a slaughter, not a war. "Casualties?" Wu Jin asked grimly. "Conservative estimate, 10,000 Velarin dead in 4 days. Projections say the homeworld will fall within 2 weeks. The silence felt heavy. "The Galactic Council must intervene," someone said. "This is genocide." "The Council is debating," Jinnah said bitterly. "They have been debating for 3 days. Half the members say it is a regional conflict. Others want to study the situation more. They will talk while the Velarin die." Taeyong looked at the beacon data on his screen. He thought about Mira, dead for 20 years now but never forgotten. Thought about being 8 years old and hungry. Thought about his promise to his mother. "Mobilize the fleet," he said. "Sir," someone asked. "We should discuss options, consider strategies." "There is nothing to discuss," Taeyong said, and his voice carried the weight of 50 years. "The Velarin saved us when no one else would. They asked nothing in return. Now they are dying, and they called us. We go now." Admiral Wu Jin said carefully. "The Krathel Empire is a major power. They have 3 times our military strength. This could be a war we cannot win. Then we die trying," Taeyong said simply. "But we do not abandon them. We do not let them face this alone. That is not who we are." Jinnah nodded slowly. "I agree. Send the fleet." Bora was already pulling up deployment plans. "We can have 47 warships ready in 6 hours. 300 support vessels in 12 hours. Marine divisions in 18. Do it, Taeyong said. Every ship that can fly, every soldier who can fight, we mobilize everything. Sir, that leaves our own colonies nearly defenseless, someone protested. Taeyong turned to face them. If we let the Velarin die, what are we defending? What does humanity stand for if we abandon the people who saved us? Our colonies will be fine for a few weeks. The Velarin will not survive that long without help. The decision was made. Across human space, ships powered up. Marines loaded equipment. Pilots ran pre-flight checks. Supply officers worked around the clock. Everyone knew why. Everyone understood. The story went out on every human channel. The Velarin were in danger. The people who saved New Haven needed help. Humanity was going to repay that 50-year-old debt. On Earth, in the Capitol building, they broadcast Admiral Taeyong's address to all of human space. Citizens of humanity, he said, standing in front of the memorial display showing the gentle tide. 50 years ago, when we were dying on New Haven, the Velarin came. They fed us. They taught us. They asked nothing. Today, they are under attack. Their people are dying. They called us, and we answer. Every ship, every soldier, every resource we have is going to Velarin space. Because we are humanity, we remember every kindness. And we will cross the galaxy to repay our debts. On New Haven, people gathered at the memorial. Someone had placed fresh flowers at the base of Mira's statue. An old woman, one of the original colonists, touched the stone with trembling fingers. "We are coming," she whispered. "We did not forget. We will never forget." The human fleet gathered at the jump point. 47 warships, sleek and deadly. 300 support ships carrying supplies, medical teams, and relief equipment. 12,000 Marines ready to fight. It was the largest military deployment in human history. Other species watched with curiosity, some with confusion. The Galactic Council received reports and seemed puzzled. Why would humanity risk so much for the Velarin? It made no strategic sense. One council member, an elder species called the Torvin, sent a message to Taeyang before he departed. "Admiral, we respect your loyalty. But this is foolish. The Krathul are powerful. You will lose ships. You will lose lives. And for what? The Velarin are not even your allies. They are just traitors you met once." Taeyang read the message and sent back a single line. They were not just traitors. They were people who helped when no one else would. That makes them family. The Torvin did not understand. Most species would not, but humanity did. In Velarin space, Elder Kiva stood on her dying world and watched the sky burn. She was old now, 70 years past her prime. Her mother had been Captain Myra. She had heard the stories about the human colony 1,000 times growing up. "Mother," she whispered to the smoke-filled air, "I sent the beacon like you told me to, but I do not think they will come. It has been 50 years. They have forgotten us." She was wrong. In deep space, the human fleet activated their jump drives. Destination, Velarin space. Mission, repay a debt. Time to arrival, 36 hours. When humanity arrived, the Krathul were about to learn something important. Humans had long memories, and when they remembered kindness, they did not come with words. They came with fire. The Krathul overlord Krathox did not understand the warning at first. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching another Velarin colony surrender. Pathetic creatures, these herbivores, no warriors among them, no fight. Just farmers and merchants begging for mercy. His empire would strip their worlds bare and move on. Simple, efficient. "Overlord," his sensor officer said, detecting multiple jump signatures. Large fleet emerging from hyperspace. Krathax barely looked up. "Velarin? Reinforcements?" "No, sir." "Unknown configuration." Reading. 47 warships. 300 support vessels. They are broadcasting identification signals. They are human. Now Krathax looked human. Those weak mammals from the edge of charted space? Why are they here? Unknown, sir. They are hailing us. Krathax laughed. Humans had a small fleet, mostly defensive. No real power. Put them through. Let us hear what they want. Admiral Taeyong's face appeared on the screen. Cold eyes, hard expression. He did not look like someone coming to negotiate. Krathel Fleet, this is Admiral Taeyang of the Human Defense Force. You have attacked our friends. You have killed innocent people. You have made a grave mistake. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Krathax laughed harder. Your friends? The Velarin are nothing. Weak prey. And you, little human, have no authority here. This is Krathel's space now. Leave while you still can. We'll give you 1 hour, Taeyong said quietly. Pull back your forces. Stop the killing. Leave Velarin's space. This is your only warning. Or what? Krathax snarled. You have 47 ships. I have 130. Your fleet is small. Your species is irrelevant. Go home before I add your worlds to my empire. Taeyong was silent for a moment. Then he spoke, and every human ship broadcasts his words on all frequencies. 50 years ago, the Velarin saved humanity when we were dying. They fed us. They taught us. They asked nothing in return. Today they called for help. We are humanity. We remember every kindness, and we have come to repay our debt. To all species listening, you are witnessing what happens when you attack humanity's friends. Close the channel. Krathax stared at the screen. Fools. Sentimental fools. All ships, battle formation. We will crush them quickly and return to the conquest. But Captain Biora, commanding the Remembrance, smiled when she heard the attack order. All ships, she said to the human fleet. Remember New Haven. Remember the gentle tide. Remember why we are here. Make them understand what human loyalty means. The battle began. The Krathel expected an easy fight. They outnumbered the humans nearly 3-1. Their ships were heavy and powerful. They had crushed a dozen species before. These mammals would be no different. They were very wrong, human. Ships moved like nothing the Krathel had seen. Fast, coordinated, precise. They had spent 50 years building their fleet with one purpose: to be ready if the Velarin ever needed them. Every tactic, every weapon, every strategy was designed for this moment. Bora's ship dove through the Krathel formation, weapons firing in perfect rhythm. Her crew worked like they shared one mind. They had trained together for years. They knew each other's moves, and they knew why they fought. Target their command ship's engine cluster, Bora ordered. Hit them hard. The Remembrance's main cannon spoke. The Krathal flagship shuddered under the impact. Across the battlefield, human ships worked in perfect teams. 3 would engage a Krathal vessel, drawing its fire, while 2 more hit it from behind. They used the Velarin planets for cover, protected civilian areas, and turned the Krathal's size against them. Commander Hyjin led the starfighter wings. 200 small, fast fighters swarmed around the larger Krathal ships like angry insects. For the Velarin, she shouted over the combat channel. Show them what happens when you attack people who helped humanity. Her fighters were fearless. Reckless, even. They dove into weapons fire that should have destroyed them, but they were too fast, too skilled. And they fought with something the Krathel did not understand. Purpose. On the ground. General Wu Jin led marine drops onto besieged Velarin colonies. His soldiers hit the ground running, weapons ready, eyes hard. They had one mission: protect Velarin civilians at any cost. Secure the evacuation zones, Wu Jin ordered. Get every civilian onto the transports. No one gets left behind. Krathel ground forces met them. Heavy armor. Superior numbers. But the human marines fought like demons. They knew these people, knew their story, knew what the Velarin had done for humanity 50 years ago. A young marine named Kiwan found himself defending a Velarin school. 20 children inside, terrified. 3 Krathel soldiers advancing. Fall back, his sergeant ordered. We are outnumbered, no Kiwan said. My grandmother was saved on New Haven. She told me the stories. We do not abandon them. Not ever. He held the line. 2 more Marines joined him. They fought until reinforcements arrived. All 20 children survived. That scene repeated across every battlefield. Humans refused to retreat, refused to leave Velaran civilians behind, refused to accept defeat. The Krathel started to realize they had made a mistake. Admiral Taeyang watched the tactical displays. His fleet was taking damage. Good ships. Good people. But they were winning. Slowly, steadily, they were pushing the Krathel back. "Sir, the Remembrance reports heavy damage," his aide said. "Captain Bora's ship is losing power." Taeyang's jaw tightened. "Can she withdraw?" "She is refusing. Says she will not leave the Velaran civilian transport ships undefended." Of course she would not. That was who she was. Who they all were. "Send support ships to her position," Taeyang ordered. "And tell her I am proud." She knew it. Hull breaches on 3 decks. Main power failing. But a Krathel heavy cruiser was moving toward a Velaran transport full of refugees. Thousands of innocent people who could not defend themselves. "All power to weapons," she ordered. "1 more shot. That is all we need." "Captain, that will drain our shields completely," her tactical officer said. "We will be defenseless." "Then we will be defenseless," Biora said calmly. "But that transport will be safe." Fire. The Remembrance's last shot hit the Krathel cruiser's reactor. The enemy ship exploded in a brilliant flash. The Velaran transport escaped. A Krathel destroyer turned its weapons on the defenseless Remembrance. "It has been an honor," Biora said to her crew. Then a dozen human ships appeared between them and the enemy. They took the hits meant for Biora. They protected her ship while support vessels rushed in to help. "Human fleet to Remembrance," came the message. "You saved them, Captain. Now, let us save you." That is what we do. Overlord Krathax watched his fleet fall apart. His ships were more powerful, but the humans fought with something he could not match. They protected each other. They sacrificed for each other. They fought for something beyond conquest. "This makes no sense," he snarled. "Why do they fight so hard for the Velaran? What do they gain?" His advisor had no answer. The Krathel did not understand loyalty, did not understand debt, did not understand that some species remembered kindness. On the Velaran homeworld, Elder Kiva watched the sky, saw the explosions, saw human ships taking hits meant for Velaran colonies, saw them fighting and dying to protect people they had never met. "They came," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Mother, you were right." They remembered. After 50 years, they remembered. Human transport landed near her position. Marines poured out, setting up defensive positions. "Elder Kiva," one of them asked. "We are here to evacuate you to safety. You came across the galaxy for us," Kiva said. "Why?" The Marine, barely 20 years old, smiled. "My great-grandfather was saved on New Haven. He told me about Captain Ira, about the gentle tide, about how your people helped when no one else would. That is why we are here. We remember. We will always remember." Battle raged for 3 days. Ships on both sides took terrible damage. Soldiers fell. Heroes died. But slowly, steadily, the Krathel fleet began to withdraw. Not just soldiers, not just ships, but a species that remembered. The human fleet floated among the stars, battered but not broken. 11 ships were gone forever. 2,000 soldiers would never go home. But every Velaran colony was liberated. Every civilian was safe. Admiral Taeyang walked through the medical bay of his flagship. Wounded soldiers lay in rows, some sleeping, some staring at nothing. He stopped at each bed, thanking them personally. These people had followed him across the galaxy to repay a debt. The least he could do was acknowledge their sacrifice. "Admiral," a young soldier said, her arm in a cast. "Did we do it? Are the Velaran safe?" "They are safe," Taeyang said gently. "Because of you. Because of all of you." She smiled and closed her eyes. That was enough for her. Captain Biora survived, though her ship did not. The Remembrance was too damaged to repair. They would salvage what they could and recycle the rest. She stood in the shuttle bay with her crew, watching their ship through the window. "We gave her a good death," her tactical officer said quietly. "She protected those civilians. She did what she was built to do." Biora nodded, throat tight. "We will tell her story. Every captain will know about the Remembrance. About the ship that gave everything to protect the innocent." 3 days after the battle ended, a Velarin transport docked with Taeyong's flagship. Elder Kiva came aboard, moving slowly but with dignity. She was old, so old, but her eyes were bright with tears. "Admiral," she said, "I do not have words for what your people did." Taeyong helped her to a chair. "Your mother saved us 50 years ago. We simply returned the favor." "Returned?" Kiva shook her head. "You crossed the galaxy. You fought a superior force. You lost ships and soldiers. You risked everything for us. That is not returning a favor. That is... I do not know what that is. That is humanity," Taeyong said simply. "We remember Elder Kiva. We remember your mother walking through our dying colony with food and hope. We remember every lesson she taught us, every kindness she showed. And we built our entire civilization on that foundation. We could not abandon you. It would betray everything good that we are." Kiva took his hand. "My mother told me about you. About the human colony. She said you were special, that you understood something most species did not. I did not believe her. I thought she was being sentimental. But she was right. You are special. We are just people who pay our debts," Taeyong said. "No," Kiva said firmly. "You are people who remember, who honor, who sacrifice. The galaxy needs to know what you did here." The Galactic Council finally finished debating. They sent a delegation to the Velarin system, arriving a week after the battle ended. They found human ships helping rebuild damaged colonies, human medical teams treating Velarin wounded, human engineers repairing infrastructure. Ambassador Jinnah met them on a Velarin orbital station. The council representatives looked uncomfortable. The ambassador, the lead delegate, said, "The council wishes to understand humanity's actions. You attacked the Krathal Empire without council authorization. You deployed military forces in a conflict that was not yours. We need to understand why." Jan looked at him for a long moment. Then she gestured to the window. Below, a human ship was docked at a Velarin colony, unloading relief supplies. "You want to know why?" she said quietly. "Then I will tell you. 50 years ago, humanity was dying. We sent distress calls to every species we knew. Most ignored us. Some laughed. We were insignificant, weak, not worth helping. But the Velarin came. One small ship. 12 crew members. They brought food and medicine and hope. They asked nothing in return. They did not demand payment. They did not seek advantage. They helped because it was right, because life mattered to them. They saved 2,000 people and taught us something important. They taught us that kindness exists, that some people help just because they can. That debt is real and should be honored." She turned to face the delegates directly. "So when the Velarin called for help, what choice did we have? Ignore them? Let them die? Betray everything they taught us? No, we went. We fought. We bled. We lost good people. And we would do it again tomorrow without hesitation. Because we are humanity. We remember every kindness. And we will cross galaxies to repay our debts. If that bothers the Council, then the Council can take it up with our government. But you will not find regret here. Only pride." The chamber was silent. One of the delegates, an elder species called the Torvin, stepped forward. "We have misjudged you," he said slowly. "Most species fight for territory, for resources, for power. You fought for something else entirely. For honor, for debt, for friendship. For all of those," Gina said, "but mostly because it was right. The Velarin needed help. We could help, so we did. It is not complicated, is rare," the Torvin said. "Loyalty like this is almost unknown in the galaxy. Species form alliances of convenience. Trade partners. Defense pacts based on mutual benefit. But you risked everything for people who gave you nothing in return. They gave us everything, Na corrected. They gave us our lives. They gave us a future. They gave us a lesson in kindness that we built our civilization on. That is not nothing. That is everything. The Galactic Council withdrew without further comment. But the word spread. Across the galaxy, species heard what humanity had done. How they had honored a 50-year-old debt. How they had fought against superior numbers. How they had protected the weak. Some species scoffed, called it foolish, said humanity had wasted resources on sentimentality. But others listened and remembered. 3 species approached humanity with alliance requests within the month, not for trade, not for defense pacts, but because they wanted friends like humanity. They wanted allies who would remember, who would honor debts, who would come when called. The Krathal Empire sent a formal peace treaty. They had no desire to fight humans again. The treaty included a clause: Velarin space was off limits forever. Touch the Velarin and face humanity's full wrath. The Krathal agreed immediately. On New Haven, they held a memorial service for the fallen. 2,000 names added to the wall beside the statue of Captain Myra. Heroes who died repaying a debt. Heroes who proved that humanity meant what it said. Elder Kiva attended, traveling across the galaxy to honor them. She stood before the memorial, touching each name gently. They died for us, she said to the crowd. People we never met. From a species my mother helped once, 50 years ago. They crossed the stars to save us. They gave their lives to protect ours. I will never forget them. My people will never forget them. She turned to face the thousands gathered. 2 peoples, forever bound, she said. Not by treaties, not by trade, but by kindness remembered and debts repaid. Let the galaxy know. Humanity and the Velarin are family now. And family protects each other, the crowd cheered. Before she left, Kiva did one more thing. She brought a seed from the oldest tree on the Velarin homeworld. She planted it beside the memorial in a spot of honor. Let this grow, she said. Let it remind everyone who sees it that kindness can change the universe. That one act of compassion can echo across decades. That some debts are worth paying, no matter the cost. The tree would grow tall and strong, its branches sheltering the memorial for generations. Children would play beneath it. Veterans would sit in its shade, and every person who saw it would remember the story. Admiral Taeyong returned to his flagship. The beacon, the one Mira had given to Deho 50 years ago, was returned to its place of honor. Silent again, waiting, but now everyone knew. Everyone understood. If that beacon ever activated again, humanity would come. Without question, without hesitation, because they never forgot kindness. On a quiet station on the edge of human space, an alien merchant asked a human bartender a question. Is it true what they say? That you crossed the galaxy to save the Velarin? That you fought a superior force just to repay an old debt? The bartender, an old veteran with scars and tired eyes, smiled. It is true, he said. Every word, and we would do it again. We would do it for any species that showed us real kindness, because that is who we are. We remember. We honor. We repay. Always. That is remarkable, the alien said. Most species forget within a generation. Most species are not human, the bartender said simply. We remember everything. Every kindness, every betrayal, every promise made. It is our greatest strength. And anyone who helps us, anyone who shows us real compassion, gains an ally forever. But anyone who attacks our friends, shrugged. Well, the Krathal learned that lesson. The alien merchant left thinking, and the word continued to spread. Humanity never forgot kindness. And when they remembered, worlds shook. Across the galaxy, species heard the story. Some dismissed it. Some admired it. But everyone understood one thing clearly. If you helped humanity, you gained an eternal friend. But if you attacked humanity's friends, you faced a force that would cross galaxies to defend them. The Velarin planted trees on every colony, each one grown from seeds brought from New Haven. The humans called them remembrance trees. They stood as living symbols of what kindness could create, and in the darkness between stars, on quiet nights, old soldiers would look up at the sky and remember. Remember being hungry? Remember being saved. Remember fighting to repay that debt. They would smile, knowing they had done right, knowing they had honored the best of what humanity could be. They never forgot. They never would.